Okay, we are going to wait for people to join us. "48 people are there already. Hi, everyone again. Hope you had enough time to take a toilet break and something to eat or drink. 125. Hi, everyone again.
Wow, so exciting.
Yes, it is. 126 people already. You know, Cari, that there are people from Humahuaca to Caleta, Olivia in Santa Cruz. There are people from all over the country, from Mendoza, from Mar del Plata, Bahía Blanca, La Rioja, Catamarca, San Luis, Santa Fe, Santiago del Estero. There are lots of people from all over the place. So, they are joining us already again. Oh, hi wow. Again. Hi.
Hello.
People from La Rioja, from Marcos Juárez, from Río Ceballos, very near Córdoba. Oh, from San Luis.
Hello, Nelly. How are you? Wow.
Oh, a student of yours, from Hernando, La Rioja, San Guillermo, Carlos Paz, oh, Santa Fe. Thank you for joining us again. Oh, you're very punctual. You've taken exact 15 minutes for your break. Thank you for being there. San Jorge, Santa Fe. Thank you, Oliva, Córdoba, San Francisco, Chilecito, La Rioja. I miss all of you so much. I haven't traveled anything this year. Last year I was everywhere most of the year, so I am missing my trip so much. But we'll be back. Hi everyone. San Antonio de Litín, Arroyito, Jujuy. Hi, Lilian. How are you? Catamarca, Unquillo. Hi. Hi again. Oh, Catamarca is there. Godoy Cruz, Mendoza, lovely place. Coquín, Villa Sardino, all the lovely places in our country. Silvia says, everywhere with monkey. You know, Cari, we have a monkey, which is one of our characters. And I traveled the whole region with a monkey, and we had great shows. It was lovely. Villa Mercedes, Chacomús, Capilla del Monte.
Wow.
Okay. 413 people are already there. So I think it's a good idea for me to start introducing you so we can take the most of our time, okay? Welcome again to everyone. I'd like to introduce you to Karina Neira. Karina is going to be in charge of the Mindful Teacher, the challenge of being present in difficult times. And I'd like you to know something about Karina. So let me read some information about her. So Karina is an English teacher, graduated from Profesorado del Consudec, with more than 20 years experience in education. She is the owner of Business English Mentoring and Enraizar con Mindfulness. She is a mindfulness instructor for children and adolescents at the Latin American Academy for Mindful Teaching, directed by Dr. Christian Plebst and Via Pico. They are from the Eileen Snell method. She has trained with international specialists such as Fernando de Torrijos in Spain, Andrea Castillo in the United States, Flores Villo-Meyer and Saida Vallejo again in the USA, and Paul Gilbert in the UK, among others. She has also attended several silent retreats, and her research area is related to contemplative neuroscience and compassion in the educational arena. As a teacher trainer, she has developed different professional development courses on contemplative practices and social emotional learning, and has participated as a speaker in ELT events such as FAPI San Juan 2016, FAPI Misiones 2017, APIVA Basic Conference in Buenos Aires in 2018, and the IATEFL Liverpool 2019 in the UK. So she is an expert, and she is going to help us being present in these difficult times. So Karina, now over to you. I will disappear, but I will be here taking care of you. If you need anything, you just let me know, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Eugenia. Thank you, everyone. It's so inspiring to see so many of you joining in, really, from so many different places. So I'm truly thrilled, and this is an honor, really, to have been invited to Cambridge Morning and being sharing this event with dear colleagues such as Griselda and Mariano. So thank you again, Academia Arguello and Cambridge University Press, for the invitation. And I also think this is a wonderful opportunity to reach out to you with this workshop about well-being in these difficult moments we are all going through. Most teachers and students as well are experiencing high levels of anxiety and uncertainty, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing when this pandemic and lockdown is going to end, is not really very acceptable for the brain. So most of us, I'm sure, we have been experiencing lots of distress, emotional distress. We've been very distracted, anxious, even sad at times, and this is completely normal because the brain is having really problems in adapting to all these uncertainty. So the intention in this workshop today is to reach out to you different tools and strategies so that we can navigate these rapid changes in a much more sustainable and effective way, so that we can be a little bit more grounded and focused in these difficult times. Because, you know, in order to teach well, we need to be well, really. So we need to understand that taking care of us is a priority if we want to reach out and support our students, because everything that happens to us is also having repercussions to our students. So that is the spirit of these workshop today, and I hope you participate actively. What do you think? Are you with me? I will be keeping an eye on the chat box, okay, just to see if you have any comments. But before we forget, by the end, I would try to leave some room for questions, okay? So hello, yes, good, there we are. Excellent, thank you for sharing. So let's see, let's get started. Okay, our journey today. So the topic of my talk is the mindful teacher, and the challenge of being present in difficult times. So what I'll be addressing is these three questions, actually. What it actually means to be present. You know, this sounds a little bit like a cliche. At times we hear lots of people talking about being in the present, live in the present. But what is it exactly? How do we actually do that? So in this workshop, we're going to do many different activities and exercises so that you get an idea of what being present really is. Secondly, I'll be talking about the why. That is, why being present is such an essential skill in these difficult times. Why we teachers need to be focused, grounded, and especially when we are teaching remotely, because it's not the same than when we teach in person. So we're going to work on that as well. And lately, how to become a mindful teacher. I mean, how do we do this? So we can talk about being present all day, but if I don't give you tools or exercises to go from a state of calm to a trait, which is what ideally we should try to do, is embrace these qualities of a mindful teacher. It's very difficult. And then what it means to be a mindful teacher. Okay, so we'll be addressing these three things. But before we plunge into this, let's have a go at being present. Right? So for this exercise, I'm gonna ask you, since we've been in front of the computer for a while already, maybe we can start with some mindful movements. So let's try to stretch a little bit, taking some deep breath. Okay, notice how your body is like right now. Maybe putting both feet on the ground, if it's possible for you right now. Maybe like rotating a little bit your shoulders to one side and accompanying this movement with your breathing. Okay, and just to the other side maybe. Maybe some circles with your neck as well. Bringing your attention to the movement while you breathe. Okay, just allowing yourself to feel your body. And now when you're ready, just trying to find a still position where you feel comfortable. And for this, what you can do is just close your eyes if it's comfortable with you, or you can take a look at this beautiful image on the screen, just to ground yourself here as you prefer. And take all your attention to your breathing. Noticing maybe the air coming out and coming in. Relaxing your forehead, your eyes, your cheeks. Putting a smile on your face as well. And noticing how it feels to have that smile on your face. And if you get distracted at any point, which is very normal, just bring your attention back to your breath. No matter how many times you get distracted by sounds or things around you, just come back to your breath with your attention, very gently. And notice how it feels to be still, connecting with your breath. When you don't have anything to do, nowhere to go, just be here in this moment. And now when I ring the bell and you are ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. So maybe stretching now a little bit, coming back to the room. Okay, so I would like you to share maybe with one or two words how you're feeling right now, what this experience was for you. And I'll be reading. Thanks a lot for this moment. Already feeling better. Thank you. Thanks a lot for this moment again. I needed this moment. This feels so nice, calm, relax, at peace. All right, peace. Good, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so this is what we mean by being in the moment. Noticing what's happening to us when we stop for a while just to feel ourselves. Thank you. Warm, peaceful, quiet. Thank you for your lovely messages. Thanks. Okay, so for some of you, maybe this might have been the first experience of mindfulness. This is what mindfulness really means, is this awareness that emerges when we pay attention to what is happening in the present moment, with intention and without judgment. This is a quote by Jon Kabat-Zinn. And this is mindfulness. It's not anything, I mean, it's not really innovative. It's a practice with more than 2,500 years. Jon Kabat-Zinn, actually, he was the first person to bring these practices from Eastern countries over to the West. And he's a doctor who actually secularized the practice. What he did in the late 70s was to design an 8-week course called MBSR, Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Program. These days is very well known around the world. This course is replicated to treat people who suffer from anxiety and chronic pain. And thanks to Jon Kabat-Zinn, this practice has been studied by neuroscience and has become very popular. But it's just understanding and being in contact to what is happening right now in this moment, because our bodies and our breath are here, are not in the future, they are not in the past. So this is in the only moment this can happen, with intention, that is with purpose, deliberately paying attention to what is happening and without judgment. This without judgment means that when we observe, when we notice what we are going through, we do this with this caring attitude, with curiosity, with kindness, and not judging the expression, the experience like good or bad, nice or ugly. And there are 3 different fundamental processes of mindfulness. Then establishing the intention is very important. I do this deliberately. This question of paying attention is also very tricky, because we as teachers, we keep on asking our students many times, please pay attention, but we don't really teach them what to pay attention is. So pay attention, or paying attention, means actually focusing on something in particular. And if you realize in the previous exercise that was exactly what we did, just paying attention to our breath, for example, to anchor ourselves right here, with this attitude of kindness and acceptance that should always be present when we practice. But mindfulness is not only about attention. Of course, when we are doing this, we are training the muscle attention, but not only that. If we only use this as mind training, it's incomplete. So what we all the framework I'm going to present today has to do with this 2 wings approach, where, yes, of course, we use attention to be in the present moment, but we also work on the compassion side of the practice. It's impossible to practice or to train our own attention if we don't cultivate what I call the qualities of the heart. Okay, this has to do with compassion. Now, what do we mean by compassion? Because this word sometimes is really misinterpreted, but in this secular context, when we are not talking about religion, compassion is a motivation. It was what really drives me to help someone else who's suffering, trying to alleviate someone else's suffering, and also mind. That is called self-compassion. It's treating ourselves as you treat your best friend who is having a bad time. So it's trying to give ourselves that very same type of attention. So in order to practice mindfulness, we need to add this ingredient, which research shows us that is an essential ingredient for well-being. If we don't do this with compassion, then it's not enough. It doesn't work. All right? Okay, very good. So what do you think? What do you think about this? This is making sense to you? All right. Can you hear me okay? All right, so we go on. Very good. So as I said before, being present is a skill. That is the good news, right? That being present is a skill, can be practiced, can be cultivated. We already have these ingredients. We already have these ingredients inside ourselves. We just have to cultivate being present. Now, why is this important in this VUCA context we are living in? When we talk about the VUCA context, we talk about this volatile, uncertain, ambiguous, and chaotic chaos, this chaotic moment we're all having. And I believe that being present as teachers, especially when we teach remotely, is highly important. You know, right now, for example, if I'm not really grounded, I can very easily get distracted trying to read your comments, trying to figure out if technology is working or not. You know, so I think that is crucial these days to practice being present. And in this context as well, when we need to really be establishing rapport with our students, you know, they're also very anxious. They're also suffering from not being able to see their friends, seeing us in person. And technology is a wonderful thing, but it's not the same as, you know, being able to touch ourselves and be there. I cannot see you, for example. I see there are 400, almost 500 people connected, but I can't see you. I can only see myself on the screen on my PowerPoint presentation. So, you know, it's so important that we can stay focused in spite of this complex situation we are going through. Okay, now, why is it so difficult to stay present? Well, the answer is that we have tricky brains. We have tricky brains. This is a great expression I took from Paul Gilbert. Paul Gilbert, he's a British psychologist who developed the compassion-focused therapy. He was here in Argentina last year, delivering different training courses for health professionals and teachers. And actually, he's very well known. He wrote many books about compassion and mindfulness. And in his model, which is actually the framework I'm going to share with you today, what he explained is that, yes, our tricky brains are so because our brains have evolved. I mean, they had been designed by evolution. So from an evolutionary point of view, we have two brains in one. We have older parts and we have newer parts. These older parts are related to the reptilian brain, the limbic system with the amygdala, responsible for all the basic emotions and needs for survival. And then we have the growing neurocortex. In evolution, it's the last part, let's say, thanks to which we are able to think, we are able to plan, we are able to ruminate as well, and get trapped many times in the past or in the future. So I'm sure that you've been there when you get trapped in these thoughts about the past, when we used to have classes, with our students, where everything was fine, or even about the future. When is this gonna end? When are we gonna be able to see our students again? So it's very easy to get trapped in these thoughts. I mean, right now, for example, I might be freaking out about almost 500 people looking at me in this presentation. So, with the limbic system and the amygdala super active, making myself maybe get a little bit distracted. So it's not our fault. This is what I want to say. It's not our fault that these days we feel on alert. And because that's what our brain has been designed to survive. That is the only thing our brains want. It wants to survive. They're not interested in our well-being. They're not interested about, being happy. They just want to survive. That's the real thing. So this is the tricky brain. So what do you think? How do you, these days that most of us are really anxious and scared about what's happening, how do you think this is affecting our tricky brains, is affecting our teaching practice? I would like you to tell me one or two things, if you can, very shortly, but how you think all this is affecting your own teaching. Well, many times when we are on this threat system, we tend to be very distractive. We tend to operate on autopilot. We are very judgmental. We are not very empathetic. So in a way, this is what happens when we get trapped in these unwanted emotions and unwanted thoughts, and it's so important that we can realize that this is so, to be able to get loose. Only when we understand and become aware of these negative bias is that we can do something about it. And this is when mindfulness and compassion can help us, because with the practice of mindfulness and compassion, I can easily see this is what's happening and do something different to make the best decisions. Okay. So what I'm going to show you now is also related to Paul Gilbert's evolutionary model. He proposes that the human being has these three systems, these three emotional regulation systems to be able to manage our emotions. We have then the threat system, which is this red circle. We have the drive system, this blue circle, and then the soothing system with this green circle. I love these. And I think this is very useful, because many times to understand why we feel what we feel, it's interesting to understand the physiology and what our brains are going through. So if we start with the threat system, is when we experience these feelings of anxiety, these feelings of anger, disgust, even sadness. And actually what happens is that this threat, and the only thing that this threat system wants, is to protect us, to defend us, and acts under this principle that it's better safe than sorry. And I'm sure that most of us have been on this threat system for many days. since we've been on lockdown, with the amygdala activated. The hormones associated with this system are the adrenaline, are the cortisol, which are the stress hormones. Now, don't get me wrong, this system is very useful because we need to take care of ourselves. But when we are most of the time on this system, then we get this emotional distress. Okay, so it's not very healthy to stay on this system for a very long time. Then we have the drive system. The drive system is when we experience feelings of achievement, of wanting more. We feel really good about ourselves. We produce lots of dopamine, and we feel really motivated. This can be a very good system when it's driven by meaning, sense of meaning and purpose, I'm sure that most of you have been here when trying to produce new exercises for your students online, trying maybe to learn new platforms, because this has taken us by surprise. So, we had to adjust our classes from one day to the next. But we need to be careful with this system as well, because if we're on the mode, on this doing mode system most of the day, then it might lead to burnout and anxiety and stress. When you do, and you cannot stop. And I'm sure that most of us have been there as well these days, trying to reach out to every student, answering emails, producing lots of different activities to make our classes amusing and entertaining. We've been doing, and this can be very exhausting as well. And then we have this third or soothing system, which is when we feel this, being content, feelings of being safe, taken care of, trust. And we also produce oxytocin, which is this love hormone, this hormone that mothers, for example, produce when they breastfeed their babies, with the activation of the prefrontal cortex. So when we are in this mode, in this system, we manage our distress and we promote bonding. We soothe ourselves. And what I love about this system is that we can activate it on ourselves and we can activate it on others as well. However, which do you think activates the easiest? Which out of these three systems, which do you think is the first one to be triggered? The red, the blue, or the green? The red most of the times. Yes, because remember that our brains only want to survive. So we're all the time looking for danger. Okay, so it's the first one to be activated. And the drive system also gets very much activated. And so the soothing system is this internal regulator, okay, that we need to stimulate intentionally. So this isn't automatic. We need to work on ourselves, for example, with practice of mindfulness and compassion, to activate the soothing system to deal and regulate the red and the blue. That is the good news, that with the practice of mindfulness, with the regular practice of mindfulness, we can activate the soothing system so that we can be more present, so that we can be more focused and balance all these three systems. Okay, very good. So let's see if you can share with me, in which circles do you think you're most of the times, or you've been most of the time in? Do you think you've been more maybe in the red circle, in the blue, a mix of both, or maybe in the soothing, in the green one? Let's see if you can share on the chat box. Let me take a look. Wow, lots of comments. Thank you. Thank you for sharing so much. Wow, the red. I'm sure the red wins. Wow, the red. Yes, you're right. The red. Most of us have been in the red circle. Yeah, true. And this is so difficult to deactivate. We need to make an extra effort. Yes, the blue and the blue too lately. On the red, the blue, okay, yeah, these two, the red and the blue mostly. Yeah. Now, the good news again, is that we can rewire our brains for the green. Because, you know, evolutionary, we are definitely wired to the red and the blue. These will be like the older parts of the brain. But with practice, with intention, we can rewire our brains into healthy habits. So let's see. Okay, I have given you too much theory. So I think it's a good moment to stop. And we're gonna do these 3 breaths exercise. You can again close your eyes if you want to. And just take a moment to take in all you've learned. And pay attention to your breath. Taking 2 or 3 deep breaths through the nose. Relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing your eyes. Now we are so much in front of the computer these days, so we need to rest our eyes as well. And maybe this question, what is important now for you? This is such a powerful question that can help us ground again in the present. So what is important right now for you? To be here, maybe to relax, maybe to enjoy yourself, maybe to take care of yourself. Just whatever it is, be with that. Okay, good. So there we go again. You see, it just takes 3 breaths to come back to the present moment and be much more connected. It only takes 3 breaths, but how difficult that is due to our tricky brains, right? We get trapped into our own internal narratives about the future, about the past, forgetting that it just takes 3 breaths to be here again. Okay, very good. So, so we know that the practice of mindfulness is based on science. We know that there is a lot of different publications and research that really can validate the benefits of practicing mindfulness and compassion. So what I'm showing you on this slide is precisely the benefits. It has to do with being able to stay focused, more concentration, self-awareness, emotional regulation, because when we practice this, we activate the prefrontal cortex and we stop the activity of the amygdala. So we are much more in control of what we feel, so that we can make better decisions and respond skillfully to difficult emotions. We, as I said before, we also cultivate the qualities of the heart, such as empathy, compassion, generosity. And we do this to ourselves and to others. And the good news is that by doing all this, we also decrease the levels of stress and anxiety. So all these what I'm showing you today is science-based. Okay. Now, why mindfulness for teachers? Well, first of all, I think it's a great tool to take care of ourselves. I've been doing mindfulness for almost 7 years, every single day, and I can tell you from my own experience how this has helped me navigate the different personal challenges I've been through. So it's really about taking care of ourselves. It's about being more mindful, because when we are mindful, we can reflect on our own practices. We can be much more attuned to our student needs, and really be much more connected. Because if we are not connected with ourselves, I mean, come on, teaching is about connection. And if we are not really connected to ourselves, how can we be connected to our students? So it's about really understanding what's happening and allowing that to happen as well. Okay, and this is not a panacea. I mean, this is not the magic pill, but it's basically being aware of what's happening inside and embracing that experience. And of course, when we become more mindful, we are able to orchestrate healthy and supporting classrooms, because then we can be there for our students fully. We are not self-absorbed in what's happening to us, but we are able to create this safe container. And I think that in this moment is what they really need. Okay, they need to feel safe. They need to be supported. And we can only do that when we are mindful. Okay. So I want to share with you some exercises, and these are self-soothing, coming back to Paul Gilbert's model, to build resilience. When we talk about resilience, we talk about this capacity we all have to overcome difficult situations and come back to ourselves, come back to our center. And so the first thing we can do is make a pause and breathe. As simple as that. Just make a pause. The 3 breath exercise we did, it's a fantastic example of that. So pausing and breathing and connecting. The third one could be labeling difficult emotions. This might be not so simple, but if you just stop for a minute and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? And try to give a very concrete name to that emotion. Then you'll be deactivating the amygdala and accessing to the highest functions of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. So the moment you name the emotion, you tame it. This is taken from Dan Siegel, and he says, name it to tame it. It's like a phrase he uses, and it's precisely that. The moment you can name the emotion, you can recognize that what you're feeling is anger, or what you're feeling is frustration, or whatever emotion that might be, then you can manage it. That is the next step to be able to navigate that difficult emotion. I also recommend self-compassion breaks. This is taken from Kristin Neff. Kristin Neff, she's a leading researcher in compassion. She wrote many books about self-compassion. And one of the exercises has to do with touch, believe it or not. And I'm gonna show you how through certain gestures you can actually release oxytocin. This hormone we release when we are in the soothing system. So, for example, smiling. Just the power of smile. Right now, maybe I was a little bit nervous. Say, 500 people. I could feel my threat system on. Okay, I breathe and smile. It's incredible, but the smile deactivates the amygdala. And this is neuroscience. It's not something I made up, I can assure you. There are papers about this. So just smile, and you will be activating your soothing system. Another thing you can do for example, is placing one hand on your forehead and the other one on your neck. So imagine you're feeling really tense in front of the computer, very overwhelmed. You just do this. You can close your eyes if you want to and take a deep breath, like 2 or 3 times, and press a little bit your forehead and your neck at the back. And you will see how you start soothing yourself. You will feel that. Okay, just that. Another supporting touch you can do is this one. Just placing your hand on your cheek, relaxing your head, taking 1 or 2 deep breaths. Try this out. And you will see how you start soothing again. Another one is just placing your hand on your heart. Or 2 or both, like this, both hands on your chest. And taking some deep breaths. And again, you will feel good about this. You're releasing oxytocin. This feels good. It might be a little bit awkward at first, even embarrassing, but your body doesn't know, that this touch is something you're doing yourself. Your body responds in the very same way that a baby, when it's crying, responds to the mother that, hugs him or cuddles him. It's exactly the same situation. So whenever you feel completely distracted, disconnected, these days that we are teaching remotely, do this, try this. The pausing, the breathing, labeling your emotions, and then taking these self-compassion breaks. Another thing that works very well is expressing gratitude and appreciation for whatever we have. I know that because of pandemic and social distancing and lockdown, we've lost many things. I know we've lost many things, but we have also learned many others. And I really know that some of you have taken this as an opportunity to transform ourselves. So maybe taking a moment to express gratitude for all the things we still have, and showing appreciation for maybe someone who's helped us go through this difficult moment. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds maybe to connect with that gratitude feeling, and maybe you can write in the chat box 1 or 2 things you're grateful for right now. And notice how that feels in your body, to feel grateful to yourself maybe, and to the people around you, your family, your students, how good that feels in the body. Okay. Wow, I see this chat. It's on fire. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing so much with me. Yeah, there are lots of things you can do as well to ground yourself in the present moment. Listening to nice music, through art, poetry, literature. You can find lots of different things to soothe yourself. Yeah, family. Wow, lots of things. My family, gratitude, health. Yes, of course. The fact that, come on, guys, the fact that we are still breathing. We are here today together, supporting each other. This is a beautiful moment. We are all sharing. We are all on the same boat right here. This awareness of common humanity, that we are all going through this globally. So giving gratitude for that. All right, very good, guys. So then becoming the mindful teacher. You know, once we start our own practice, you would see that we will go from this temporary state of being grounding in a moment to a trade. That is ideally what should happen, to embody, you know, these qualities of a mindful teacher, so that you can serve emotions more skillfully, that you can prioritize. This is so important, guys, prioritizing connection over content. I know that we want our students to learn, but this moment is so unprecedented, so different from what we have ever imagined, that we need to work on connection. This is what matters the most right now, to be able to connect with our students. And they will learn maybe other things about being a good person, about being compassionate, about being generous. Okay, and that's fine, and that's fine. Then a good mindful teacher would actually listen actively, without judgment, as if, you know, with this beginner's mind, without expectations, trying to really truly listen. Our students need to be listened to. So I hope you can create really safe environment where you can actually ask them how they feel, and that they can share without fears, you know. I think this is key, being open and available so that they can share what they feel, and they know that they will be accepted and that they won't be judged. I think this is key. And then, of course, modeling. How can we possibly teach something we are not? You see, so important. They are looking at us. I mean, they learn from us. So the way we approach this crisis is going to teach them how to approach crisis in their lives. So modeling, they learn through empathetic resonance. So remembering that we really need to show and embody these behaviors, but authentically, you know, authentically, because they will know if we are faking this. So this needs to be really embodied. Okay, very good. So if you are interested in setting up your own practice, there are many things you can do. You can join an MBSR course. It's taught everywhere in Argentina and abroad. So you might find a very good place to do this. I invite you to a free space I have created. This is the 10th week we are on. We are joining online on Tuesdays and Thursdays for free. It's a free space for everyone who wants to share. I'm holding these meditation practices. Teachers, I mean, not necessarily English teachers, is open to every educator. So you're more than happy to join me if you're interested. Then if you want to try out and explore a little bit what mindfulness is, you can also download this free application. I highly recommend. It's called Insight Timer, and there you have different meditation practices. You can choose the length, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you are just beginning, start with the shortest ones, but that might get you good practice. And then you can follow me on Instagram, Enraizar con Mindfulness. I'm generally posting trainings or different workshops I'll be delivering if you are interested. Okay, and I want to quote Aline Snell. I've studied with Aline Snell. She's a mindfulness therapist from Holland, and she says we can only teach who we are, and I'm 100% in agreement with this. When we cannot fake it. We really teach who we are, and for everything you want to teach others, you need genuine contact, and for that there has to be someone at home inside you. I mean, if you're not truly there, if you're not mindful, if you're not in the present, you cannot connect. And I mean, we really need to be consistent and coherent with this, because our students are are learning from us. So in this moment of crisis, I think that the best gift we can give them is the gift of presence. So, okay, these are my references. And this is the end. So I hope we have a couple of minutes for questions. Okay. I hope
yes,
it has inspired you to take care of yourselves, to really maybe reflect on your own teaching. And I think it's so important in these difficult times we are living in, and not just because of what's happening today, but what is, coming in the future, what's ahead post-pandemic. We need to be ready and start building up resilience, not just because of now, but for the future.
Okay, so we have about 6-7 minutes for questions. While people write their questions in the chat box, I'm going to say a couple of things. First, I was impressed by the number of comments from teachers who feel overwhelmed, really tired. So this is something that goes beyond a cliche. We are overwhelmed, we are very tired, and there was something you said that really hit home, and it has to do with the word home. There has to be someone at home with you, so inside you. So I think it boils down to that. We have to find ourselves, and then we will be ready for our students. Thank you so much for those insights. And I have a couple of questions now. Let's wait check if there are some others. Both questions have to do with materials. Virginia Ludueña and Adriana Sanchez asked if there are books or materials you can recommend for us to read during this difficult time, materials for us as teachers.
Yes, I would highly recommend Patricia Jennings' book called Mindfulness for Teachers. It's a very good book to start, where you have all the theoretical framework, but also very practical exercises. So that's a very good book. Then if you're interested in taking this to your classrooms, of course, I would always recommend start with yourself first before you attempt taking this to your classrooms. But there are very good books. For example, Dan Siegel. Dan Siegel is a great author, and you will find many things on how the brain works and how we can our classes much more brain-friendly, if you want to. Dan Siegel. That's a very good author to follow. And then from Alil Snell, that the mindfulness therapist I recommended, there are two books, Still and Quiet Like a Frog, that's for kids, and Breathe for adolescents. You can find them in Spanish as well, Tranquilos y Atentos como una rana and Respirar. And you can find them in different bookshops.
Okay, now Josefina Ceballos is asking, what do you think is the best way of approaching mindfulness with kids? I think that's a whole new other workshop, but if you can give us a summary in one sentence, what can you tell us?
Wow, well, yes, you're right. It's not easy, because mindfulness practice also depends on the age, and you need to adjust different practices. But I would say that a good way to introduce this is at the beginning of your sessions. Maybe when you find it difficult for them to be quiet and to focus, maybe just to start. There's a very good exercise that is paying attention to the sounds. So maybe instead of paying attention to your breath, you can say, okay, now just maybe close your eyes for 1 minute and notice all the different sounds you can hear around you. and they love that. That's mindful listening.
Good, thank you. Now, somebody else asked how to get an invitation to join you on Tuesdays and Fridays. How can they get that?
There you can send me, they can send me an email to enraizarconmindfulness@gmail.com. There you have my email address, and I will give you access. We do that through Zoom platform, so I can send you the access very easily.
Okay.
And you are more than welcome, all of you. Really, that's a space where teachers meet, practice together, reflect, and share whatever is happening to us. So it's I highly invited.
Oh, I'll try to join you next Tuesday. So, Karina, just in case people haven't had the time to jot down the name of the books, shall we send a handout to everyone with those names and these details for everybody to know that the materials are available for them to read and to learn more? Okay, we are going to send these handouts next week. Just in case anybody had some kind of issue with the presentation, remember that everything has been recorded, so you are going to have the recordings. And I see that many people are interested in joining your sessions on Tuesdays and or Fridays, so you will probably have lots of people from all over the country now. Okay. I can't see any other questions. They take some time for them to come in. What I do see is lots of thank yous, a standing ovation, an incredibly useful presentation. So I think we all share this feeling that we are really grateful for this. And well, thank you. We'll be in touch.
It's been my pleasure. It's been really awkward and strange to be presenting online. I have to, I mean, honestly, this was my first online presentation. But thank you. Thank you for being there. I know you were there, like, you know, dropping comments all the time. Thank you, Eugenia, for being there, supporting. It was really reassuring to know that you were all taking care of this. So thank you so much.
Yes, and people from Cambridge and from Buenos Aires and from Mexico are there taking care of us as well. Thank you, Cambridge Assessment English. Thank you, Karina, and we'll be in touch. Let's hope we can do this in person here in Córdoba some other time.
Let's hope so. Take care, guys.
Okay.